imagine, as you can see here, the one thing we've done so far is this. We have a Chaos Lord with the ability to go Plasma Pistol with, we'll use a Claw as a Power Fist, dual Lightning Claws, or the Plasma Pistol and the Power Weapon. I don't know what that's going to change. I don't even know if it's going to let me do anything other than Lightning Claws, so we don't know. But at least we have the options. So this one's kind of done. We have the assumption that Raptors and Warp Talons are like the warrior variants. So I'm out of 10, all right? We have 10 bodies to build. And the way we're going to be doing it is we're going to have a champion that's probably based on, I'd say, the instructions. Like, let me take a look at the instructions here. So a champion... According to this, champions can only have plasma guns and power swords. Now, this is a cool power sword. This is kind of like a basic power sword right here. The current Raptor box has like a crazy looking one. So I think we're going to go with the crazy one from the box. The question is, do I want to magnetize this shoulder just for the hell of it, right? Like, we could technically magnetize this shoulder just in case the champion does get alternatives, like a more interesting chain sword. Although I'd hate it because then I'd have to paint all these things, which we're not going to know about any of these rules for like months. I did notice looking through that the current bits boxes has like basic versions of these. Like, this is actually very different looking. The standard kind of just looks like a little arc, and the standards don't have these. So I actually have something on hand that might replace these and look pretty cool. I still don't have an idea for this guy. I know where my mutant box is, though, so we'll be able to go to it if we need to. I think we'll be okay. So there's going to be a two-handed chain axe. This one might be a bit of an issue. Maybe. I do have some interesting components that we can pull from. And a two-handed spear, which again might be a little awkward. Probably some of the easier ones we'll have to work with is the Shrieker. I do have a couple components from the Noise Marines that should make this look a little interesting. The Skyseer, of course, will be magnetizing the gun so that it can be a flamer, a plasma, or a melta. And then you'll just have one body. So overall, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 10, leaving me 4. I think... God, this makes it a struggle. This is why I don't like not knowing, right? Because I could either do like a couple of Raptors... Because these guys will probably have some kind of special rule. Most warriors just have a special rule. And then you could do like 4 Warp Talons. And then run a Power Claw, 4 Warp Talon kill team. What's up, Deherminator? I don't know. I do think I kind of want to split 2 Raptors, 2 Warp Talons as my spares. Because I feel like if you're going to Warp Talon, you get like a Curse Claw and then maybe a Depredator. And then like you just do that, or maybe you can even tie in the Shrieker. Because I'm guessing like you don't get these unless you're like a Warp Talon. Because that's what the Warp Talons originally had. I don't know though, because this is just a basic loadout here. But yeah, I think let's start with the Shrieker. That'll probably be one of the better options. I've already got a couple components set aside for it. And then we'll probably move over to the Sky Seer, get this magnetized. And then maybe the Champion, which again, I don't know. We either need to magnetize the sword just in case we can swap it up with other weapons that we might have access to. Or we can just glue the power sword on. Because currently, in the current Raptor box, champions only take power swords. And a plasma pistol, I think. Yeah, the picture, yeah, that's a plasma. Yeah, that's all they get in the current rule set. They might expand it, but that's all they get right now. What's up, Scribbeer? You watched every painting video on YouTube? I don't know if you have. And this is going to be building for today. Because we got to get these Raptors together. You would increase the volume of my mic? It's currently in the red for me. Oh, yeah, the no-bot audio went up. There we go. Hopefully I've set those properly. So far, all we've gotten finished is, of course, the Raptor Lord. Fully magnetized to be able to swap to his alternate set of gear. With a slight alteration for the little back paneling stuff here. We took the Age of Sigmar variant Demon Prince on foot. I took his trophy rack so that we could make it bigger. Yes, I know it makes him really tall, which will make it harder to go underneath vantage points. But with his old trophy rack and even this weapon being as tall as it is, he was already too tall for that nonsense. And I'm pretty sure he's going to make you sacrifice one other person on the field to run him. So there's a very limited chance anyone would ever want to use this guy. But he'll be fun. Pathfinders versus Angel of Death on Tomb World. No, yeah. AOD. Not being able to bring them down from range when you're playing Pathfinders. Pathfinders is just a tough sell in close quarters. I'm hoping that the stealth suits are a little better, but I was also kind of hoping they were going to get those breachers. Like, it was going to be a breacher team that was way better in close. Like, you'd have a team that was just, like, wildly good from close range out of the Tau. Just run up on someone, get, like, piercing 2. With decent damage output guns. So we've grabbed some components for the spear. Thanks to all my sorcerers that I have. And my warp smith. These will probably be hyper useful when we get to the two-hander stage of today. Because if I sever this and we just get like a really big weapon on the top of it. And I think here I do have some Bone Reaper stuff. And the Bone Reaper stuff looks really cool. Like, this will be a really cool spear tip. Easy enough to just glue that to the end here. And then we'll have a guy with, like, a really fun spear tip. We'll just need to probably cut this off at the wrist and reassess it. But yeah, let's get that Shrieker started. Now, originally, I remembered that with Emperor's Children, you do get a ton of those cannon barrel tips. I think I glued them to something, and I can't remember what. You should have 4 extra. I have none. So I think they're glued to my tanks somehow. Like, they're somewhere right now, not in my bits box. So I found that I had these, the Shrieker pistols. So we're going to try to, like, trim at this part here. And then on the actual model, where the exhausts are, we're going to try to have the Shrieker heads coming off of them. Because outside of that, he's just pistol, chainsword, and then a Shrieky Mask, which again, Emperor's Children, we got the down horn with the big mouth plate. Should be fun. So let's get a Shrieker in. That's fine. Hopefully you guys hear music on YouTube now, too. I downloaded like 20 songs that didn't care about, supposedly didn't care about, like any issues or problems. Are these all the same bodies? No. Okay. So there should be music playing on YouTube. Which was a struggle for a little while there. Okay. Looking, assuming, considering. Okay. So it's kind of the old system. This is the old system of mid-body, lower body. Okay. This should be easy enough. What kind of leg pattern do I want for the Screamer? We still don't even know what base we want to do, and I barely know. I have like a hint of an idea on what color scheme we're going to try to put these guys into. Because genuinely, I don't know. I didn't want to do Night Lords. That feels a little too on the nose. I was looking around at all the different paint schemes for like the standard units and even some unknowns. And the closest one we really were thinking of doing was that all black that has the flame pattern on the bottom of their shoulder pads and then the bottom of their leg plates. So, like, there's a chance that's what we're about to do. What's up, Broshi? Let me zoom in for you guys. Upper body. There should be something that looks like it has a speaker system on it. This is kind of the closest one here. Let me think. No, I shouldn't have an upper... I don't want to put my Emperor's Children upper bodies on here, because I feel like there's too much, like, EC symbology on there. I was kind of debating painting them like EC, but that felt like a BS thing to do. I mean, I've got enough parts from Emperor's Children to make them actually look very Emperor's Children coded. Before we glue this front piece on, let me actually take a look at my EC parts. We also have some ghost components from Night Haunt that we might actually put kind of on the bottom of the base. Make it look like they're flying around on souls and stuff. Ghost Raptors. Yeah, the problem is EC chest plates are like, they involve the waist. And I highly doubt that there's just a flat chest piece that doesn't look like it's trying to dynamically sprint forward. It also doesn't look like they gave me too many spare chest pieces. They really did get the chest pieces like almost perfect in number. There's no reason for it. How's everyone doing? To the people coming over here from the gaming YouTube side of things that I'm usually a part of. Crazy week. Halo on PlayStation. Valve reminding the entire CSGO community what it feels like to invest in something that you honestly have no control over. Like, I'll give it to Valve. They gave people a good life lesson. Ooh, Cataphrons. We're going to hold off gluing to the waist until like I see the rest of the parts. Because the dynamic nature of this is really nice. I've always loved this approach so that you could be like, all right, he's looking this way, he's looking this way, he's going, you know, slightly up more, slightly down more. This has always been the ideal for Space Marines for me, and the fact that they took it away from so many Space Marines to just make them all like unified bodies. I mean, I get it. It's probably easier to like craft the things, but it does feel kind of crappy. Alright, so Warp Talons are clawed feet. Regular people are like just normal feet. Wait, are there Power Fists on here? Oh no, those are Warp Talon claws. Okay. So you playing some AdMech? Getting your Cataphrons together, or is it for a project? What the hell's all the other there? Just a filthy AdMech player. I mean, it's cool. I like the heritage of AdMech. I mean, I get that we have Necrons in 40k, and that's kind of like the undead faction. But Admech really is like the necromancer faction. Like, it's one thing to just be like a boatload of undead coming at you. It's another to have like a leader that's commanding with protocols an entire army to do crazy shit. So you're kind of playing the necromancer faction, which is nice. Yeah, that's what makes 40k fun. I mean, you find your faction and you kind of like get into it. That's why I like Thousand Suns. Their whole function of basically being like the nerd home base. And everyone talks about them in the light of it being like all for some amazing end game concept of just like no disease, no like arguing, no need for fighting, everything's taken care of. But in reality, it's just like sniveling, conniving people. I think there was a story, I want to say, between a Necron and a sorcerer. And the Necron was like challenging the sorcerer's ideology or something. And the sorcerer was talking about how Ahriman and everyone were working really hard to bring like their brothers back, right? And the Necron was like, "What do you mean? No, you're not. Because it's really not that hard." And then he did it. Like, in front of him, he, like, turned Rubric Marine back into a person. He was like, you can easily do it. You're just not doing it because it's easier to control puppets. Like, that kind of thing. Okay, so... So a Shrieker is kind of down to his shoulder pads, which I remember seeing on the box that one of these shoulder pads that come in here is perfect for it. Oh, they're all kind of perfect for it. So we're going to make some visual aesthetic shifts to move away from current Raptor visuals with like the one shoulder pad that looks really cool and then the one shoulder pad that looks blank. For the elites, I think we're going to go for the cool shoulders. So I'm going to try to like double speaker it for both of his shoulders. Why do they have 3 plasma pistols on here? Oh, I guess regular soldiers in the actual squad get plasma pistols. Maybe? I don't know. It's weird. Well, either way. So we're going to have these. We're going to need to trim these for the backpack. It looks like most of the backpacks are just standard. You don't have to like get a specific one. The commander one is 72 and 69. So I got to remember that. They're all 72 and 69. Oh no, 72 is specific. 71 looks more standard. Okay, so 69 is always the base. But as long as we hold off for the commander for that one. Yeah, that's the fun part about 40K, I think. It is one of those elements that, like, in my head, I know a lot of people talk about other game systems, Trench Crusade, all that stuff. Other game systems have to overcome that, right? Like, there is a cross-section of people that will play these tabletop games explicitly for having something in them that really attracts them to it. A faction that they kind of resonate with. I mean, among other challenges. To be able to get off the ground with all these new IPs trying to come out. Although I am starting to see more with War Machine. Like, more than I'd expect by now. In terms of people talking about it, bringing up, like, the interest. I've seen storefronts talk about having access to the boxes. Because I guess there's a way for them to get it. Like, just buying through the shop, I guess. It sounds like they're trying to reestablish supply lines to local game stores to try to, like, get back into people's minds. Which is kind of cool. I have not. So, it depends on... The visual aesthetic is really going to depend on kind of what we're going to do with the basing, I think. I'll walk you through it in a second. Let me clean this up. Because I kind of have an idea. So you remember that that one paint scheme we were looking at? Here, let me... No, yeah. Like... And that's the exact mindset we need for all forms of everything. You always want someone to be the competition. So let me see. Chaos, Space Marine, Faction, Paint Schemes. Warband colors. Air rare. I kind of want to just see the name of it because I should be able to pull it up separate to everything. Yeah, screw it. Hang on. These two. The Bleak Brotherhood, Apocalypse Company. It's the same name. But it looks like chrome silver backpacks as well as components for the wraparound stuff. You have to... What I'm going to have to do with this color scheme is I bought this paint that I can show you in a second called Payne's Gray. All right. I think I'm going to hit the whole thing with Payne's Gray. The entirety of the armor. Because even like the trim and stuff doesn't really look like you're supposed to focus on it that hard. It's mostly just what goes to the backpack, some of the facial components. Everything else has to stay this dark color. And then I bought a Posca white pen. And I think the goal is that I'm going to hit with the Posca white pen. I'm going to try to paint these flame setups on it, right? And then we're going to go back over everything I paint white with maybe a contrast that's like a light green. I think I have something. I think it's like Hex Wraith Flame or something. We're just going to go over it with Hex Wraith Flame. So that you have that blue and then this. And then the real idea is that I'm going to be using some of the ghost bodies that I have left over on some of the bases. Maybe from the Undead faction that I bought all those ghosts from. So it looks like a squad of raptors running through like ghosts and like graveyards and stuff. You know, in honor of Halloween. But this is the idea. And then we might have to figure out what we're going to do about this if we want to do anything because this looks insane. That's the idea. Because when I was at the art store, like I said, Payne's Gray. If you notice, that's very blue, right? It's very black, but it's also very blue. So I think the plan is either to prime them black and then hit them with Payne's Gray, or maybe prime them gray and hit them with Payne's Gray. But you'll also notice that even in the light, it's not necessarily that reflective. Like, it has the same general gloss reflection as everything else around it. So I think this is actually a pretty flat color. So it shouldn't be too reflective anyway. And then, like I said, Posca. This is a white pen, which we're going to try to do, like, flame with, because the tip of it should be able to, like, once we get the paint in it, it should be able to just be like, flames. Hopefully. We'll see if that works. I don't know. Worst case scenario, I'm going to water down some regular white paint or make sure it's at least smooth enough using glazing medium, and then we'll have to use like a liner brush or something. It shouldn't be hard to paint just because, like, visually, right, from what you just saw, the backpacks are going to be like a chrome silver. The chrome silver is coming around from their chest. Everything else is Payne's Gray. The shoulder pads are going to have the flames. The hands up into the forearms are going to have the flames. Then the feet, no, the feet stay black. It's just the shin armor down here that has the flames. And then that's it. There's even a world where once I get the flames on, I might go back over it with Payne's Gray to redo the trim in Payne's Gray. And then we'll have to pick some stuff for, like, cloth fabric. We might do like a red cloth fabric or something. Just a little nuance. Because outside of that, like, it barely looks like you're supposed to color them. We'll kind of figure it out as we go, though. Because I feel like we are going to have to make some alterations. Let's get this backpack hooked up, because we need to prep it. I'm going to get this all set up. Now we want to, with these side vents, we want to get these like screamer heads on it. Been playing a lot more Hell Let Loose. The servers are still a little weird, but I've had some pretty good games without too much crashing or disconnecting. Usually just other people I'm playing with. I think the last 4 games we've played have all been nail biters, which is great. And I picked up Ball X Pit. I was watching a few people play Ball X Pit recently. And like my brain was kind of into the idea of sort of a mindless roguelike style thing with at least a little bit of strategy built into it. It seemed good. It seemed like a turn a controller on and turn your brain off kind of game. I feel like it's always good to support Devolver when you can, too. One of the few companies that puts out some pretty cool stuff for like 15 bucks. Okay. I need to clean this up a little bit. I'm kind of not looking forward to this next tournament for Kill Team. I'm still in my head trying to figure out how I'm going to beat Canoptic. And we have to look over kind of what Deathwatch does, because that's going to be the other big contender. I have the gist for what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I kind of get it for Chaos Cults, which is what I'm going to play. Because there's this, like... It's weird. There's a lot of stuff in Chaos Cults that works against each other. After I finished playing the game and started, like, looking back at all the actions I took, I remembered that you can't rend with an accurate, to my understanding. Like, there was a QA thing that was like, nah, if you take an accurate, you can't upgrade it via a rend. You can only upgrade it after the fact with the rules that do the after the fact stuff. So there's like this weird thing with your mutations where you have ceaseless, you have rending, you're hitting on 4s. You need to try to support them to get them up to hitting on 3s, and then you're going to want to roll everything. Like, you can do accurate, but it's kind of meaningless unless your enemy is, like, easily killed with a single hit, right? Like, you're not going to have to care about it. Then lean into the accurate, because you can pick and choose whether you're going to use accurate. But honestly, accurate's more about giving accurate 1 to your cultists, so that you can potentially create more mutants if you have someone you can pick off if you guarantee a hit. Okay. We might need to shave the side thing down to go flush. I think that's what we'll do. But man, like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, unless I can find a moment where I just ram my torments into the Geomancer, and even then, Canoptic has get down Mr. President. So, like, I'll run in to take out the Geomancer, and then they'll give me one of the tiny, like, doesn't matter units. So, I really can't, like, just straight kill their leaders. I love Kill Team. Kill Team's kind of my jam. I play 40k pretty heavily, just because the local scene is mostly 40k. We're finally getting Kill Team groups together. I mean, I made my whole channel based off a lot of Kill Team stuff. I know I haven't made videos like recently. I've been trying to figure out what we're gonna do with the channel, because there's been a lot of like talk and stuff, people going over like what YouTube's doing with background stuff, making it more difficult for certain channels to like get found, stuff like that. So this goes like that, which means what the Grey Knight stuff. I want to say the assumption was that Grey Knights were going to come in a box where it was Grey Knights versus the new Demons team. But in my head, I'm trying to think of like what actually kind of becomes that, right? That's kind of the important part. It's not about like wanting it. It's about like what's it going to take up on the field then? Because the Raptors box is going to be the new way the Raptors kind of exist, I guess. Uh, the Adeptus Sororitas stuff coming out is going to be a new type of Adeptus Sororitas unit. So what's the new type of Grey Knight unit? Right? What's the new type of demon unit? I could see a demon unit just because there's a lot of demon units that really do need reskins. But Grey Knights... Grey Knights do need some kind of alternative units. Like a specialist fodder or something. We're gonna have to try to get both of these in the same-ish area. Try and line them up a little bit. I don't know if we get, like, Phobos Grey Knights, though. Because lore-wise, I mean, we don't need to put a ton of stock in lore, of course. But lore-wise, Grey Knights are supposed to be, like, these incredibly ridiculous soldiers. I don't think you put incredibly ridiculous soldiers in, like, really light armor, right? Like, you're not just like, oh yeah, let's make it more difficult for them to do their things. Maybe you do. I don't know. End of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter. And that's the thing, like, Terminator group, like, what would that look like? It's near impossible for you to have a Terminator group that isn't just 4 people, and then if it is 4 people, what are the rules? What are the rules that don't feel absolutely abusive to everyone else on the field? And that's just, like, the struggle, right? Now the goal, with the heads where they are, we're going to try to grab as much of this like liquid plastic as we can. We're going to try to line the outside of it with it to the best of our ability. Well, Custodes could easily be like straight up one Custodian character unit and then a bunch of Sisters of Silence. It's not all big golden people, sure, but like that's a reality that isn't that bad, in my opinion. So what's the Grey Knight equivalent? Do they have like their version of Squires? This plastic in there. Let me grab the... Because that is a good question. That is something that normally you can do. It just depends on whether it claims you can't loot beyond 2 a turn. But that was something you could do historically. That was something me and my buddy would do whenever we played loot in the old system. is we would loot all the points we could on the opponent's side just to like screw them over for the turn. I will say with the Chaos Raptors having a Chaos Lord and kind of the general feel of like 5-man frickin' Death Watch and stuff, we might be about to get a season where almost every team that comes out is like one big champion and then a bunch of fodder units. Although with the Raptors, it does feel like it's going to be sort of an option. All right, crit op, loot. There you go. One objective marker, the active operative controls. An operative cannot perform this action during the first, blah, 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 while within control range of an enemy operative, blah, 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 or if the objective marker has already been looted. Whenever friendly operative loots, you score 1 VP to a maximum of 2. Yeah, you could... There's nothing on there that says you can only loot up to 2, but so you could definitely loot all 3. It'll probably be a rarity for you to need to do that, because most likely what you're going to do is you're going to flood the opponent objective right away. And then you'll loot there. Hopefully you have enough AP on the mid objective that you don't have to worry about them taking it, which would let you loot there, and then they might not be able to get to yours, is the hope. Depending on what armies you are, of course. So you don't necessarily need to waste the AP unless you feel like you absolutely have to, is kind of the trick there. But sprinting up to an opponent's objective and looting it before they're able to do it, that's really what you want to do. That's the big thing with cults, is because I have GA2, or the new version of GA2, the whole reality of what the cults are supposed to take part in is I have 2 cultists near an objective that could get to your objective. If I get initiative in turn 1, I'll activate 1. Maybe I charge your character with it or something, right? Like I can charge in and get to your character, and then I don't fight, I just hug your character, and then with the other one I move to the objective and I loot it. And that's just, alright, that's how you do it. Alright, Screamer backpack achieved. Battleclade looks cool. I don't think anyone's going to be playing Battleclade at this next tournament. I like the idea of the whole, like, you have 2 people who sort of are the chess masters of the team, and then everyone else relies on them. I don't know how strong that's going to be going forward. I'm going to be very explicit here. If Raptors become a thing and I'm able to get to your HQs with my Raptors right away, oh no. What, the ability to give a bunch of people orders and make them do stuff? I mean, that's just IG. Protocols are as well AdMech, I think. So, like, protocols are still a thing. Oh, I can feel the glue in my lungs. The freaking melting plastic. Oh yeah, the main thing I really genuinely like is about Kill Team is the alternating actions, just because you can kind of retake tempo. Like, I lost pretty bad to the Canoptic. I could have lost way worse if it really was like a you go I go situation for like turn back and forth kind of situations, like how 40k works. I wouldn't have been able to do crap. It would have just been over. Like, it genuinely would have just sucked. Like, 40k absolutely intrigues me. Yeah, okay. Because it's very weird watching, like, pros play the game. And there's this level, well, pros in big air quotes. But there's this level of, like, respect that they give to each other where they won't, you know, aggressively push for something under the fear and assumption that the enemy team will be able to easily handle it. So a lot of big tournament games I watch involve people literally just doing nothing for very long periods of time. Meanwhile, I play and like I make one move and next thing you know, my opponent's just in my base, blowing all my stuff up, and I'm just staring at it like, how did this happen? I screened. Why did that not matter here? Supposedly their new alteration for Epic, the reduced size stuff that's now like Titanicus or whatever, that's supposed to be alternating activation as well. At least that's what someone told me. And that could be pretty cool. Bunch of tiny units running around. Well, yeah, I mean, 40k has its go turn. Technically, Kill Team has its go turn as well. Are these all... No. Oh, okay, there we go. Like, turn 2 is usually a go turn for 40k. Or for Kill Team. What I do like about it, though, is there's ways of taking turn 2 as your go turn, but also doing it in a way where you're safe enough that turn 3 could be kind of like a reverse tempo turn. So if something screws up, you make a reassessment and a readjustment, and you're like, alright, I need to pull these guys back. Turn 2's out. This is going to be a huge thing for me with Chaos Cults. Because basically, if turn 2 doesn't go the way I hope it does, because maybe I roll poorly or I pick the wrong unit to try to kill, I need to get into a space in my mind where I'm like, alright, I gotta retreat all my mutants. I can't, like, I just can't spend my mutants. I have to instead send in, like, different units for fodder, and then I need to get 3 of my, like, big leader type units on the field, or the torments. You kind of have to build up the momentum and then reassess whether you need to, you know, wait till turn 3 to actually use your momentum. Or if you might need to, like, try and do it in turn 2 still. It's a lot of, like, big brain plays. Kind of why I didn't want to do frickin' Chaos Cults, but at the same time, I do really want a big brain team. Like, I want to get one big brain tournament in. Yeah, okay. Battleclade would probably be a big brain team too, based on the simplicity that I understand them as. Oh, where did I put the Screamy Head? There it is. Hell yeah, Screamy Head. Straight from the Emperor's Children collection. I will say I am still a little annoyed at how powerful the Canoptic Cord is. Because almost everything that makes it powerful is stuff that was, like, severely nerfed. Right? Like, from other armies. Things that were found to be way too strong that would then get severely nerfed. Which, for most of us, would put you in the mindset of, like, oh, now they know, right? Now they know not to do that. Now they know that they really should hyper-focus on not pushing that much power. It's very important that they don't unbalance things by, you know, bringing this stuff back and, you know, disproportionately applying it to a different team. And then Canoptic hits. And Canoptic is literally all of the most powerful stuff that got nerfed from a bunch of teams just thrown into one team. That is so genuinely wild to me that they would do that. Just piling more liquid plastic in here. Sprue baby. Top tier tool to have in your arsenal. I'm going to close it up before I lose all my brain cells. With how his head's turned, we're going to have this gun face down. Like he's not looking to use it in that moment. Chainsword will be up like he's challenging someone he sees. Both shoulder pads will be the vented shoulder pads. Realizing I might need to reassess his head's location. It's the problem with horns. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, go to sleep when you need to, bro. There we go. A little bit more aligned. Kind of lean him down a little bit. Have him turn slightly sideways. You got the painting burnout, Peacock? Bam. Screamer. 2 scream vents on the back. Try to emphasize his whole focus on yelling at stuff as he runs at it. That. Raptor Screamer complete. Let's see if I can play around with the focus stop on my camera. I mean, it's F11. Go to there. Lower brightness. And that is the direct alternate to the Shrieker. Similar concept. Now what we can do is we can get a little frisky with magnets, and we can try to get the Sky Seer down. Again, I don't know if they're going to be like, you can only use the Melt-A-Gun. I mean, this is a very explicit name, but at the same time, Plasma is technically like a heat weapon, Flamer, and Melta. It's all kind of heat weapons in their own way. So maybe he'll be able to have access to them. Worst case scenario, you can only take Meltas in this squad, at which point I might just glue the Melta to it. But as it stands right now, I think the best bet for me is to magnetize the guns to just like go into his hand. At least that's what I think. Let me take a look at the guns. So on sprue. This is the old system for guns. I love it. This is actually kind of perfect. So there's that one. Melta. Take it the flamethrowers on the other. See what they say about the hands. I'm gonna need 32, 31. No, yeah. I feel like that's going to be the whole point in Kill Team, is to take a Melta Raptor. Where the hell is 31? Is it 31? What's up, Alexander?
Yeah, 3132 is what it says. But the hands that look like they're supposed to be grabbing the thing are 33. Where's 31 and does it look right? But yeah, that's... I feel like the Melta Raptor is going to be the damage in a box. Right? Even if they give him a Starties, he'll only be able to shoot the Melta once, but he'll be able to move and dash. Most likely before he does it. Oh, thank you. Hopefully you're enjoying Kill Team. Hopefully you got a fun community. That's always the first step. Is to try to get the people for it. Thankfully, local to me, I'm starting to get a group together for it. There's at least 2 general communities that all seem to be interested in playing. They're not the most vocal of people. So I never really know if like they're looking for games or anything. Because yesterday was Thursday. One of the groups is called Thursday Night Fight. And not a single one of them said that they were going to go to the store to try to play. So I kind of opted out. Go with these for legs. He might have a bolt pistol, but I doubt they'll give it to him. In reality, even if you don't have the bolt pistol, just the move and dash with whatever kind of fly they're about to give these things, that's the big thing, is what kind of fly do they give them? If the... what is it? If the Vespid have like a reduced kind of fly, like you feel like it's like a basic kind of fly, I think these guys might also get a more basic kind of fly. I don't see a 31 anywhere on any of these. So I'm thinking they just misrepresented the info. Technically, there's 2 sets of hands for this. In theory, if we don't like my initial idea of being like, all right, let's magnetize here. Like, this is my idea, is to put a magnet in here so that this clips to it. If we don't like this, there might be a reality where with all the extra shoulder pads and everything that I have access to, we just get 3 sets of these arms perfectly glued the way they need to be. Because that's kind of the other question. If these all snap the same way, does the one hand go the same spot every time? I don't know. I feel like they're probably going to have maybe a 1 command point, like extra inch for the turn or something. Call it speed freaks or some weird thing. Maybe we do the arms instead. I'm starting to think maybe we do the arms instead. Because they give you enough. There's no other guns for this. Well, they don't give you enough in one box, but I do have 2 boxes. So, let me... This is a power fist. Why is there a power fist in here? Oh, that's how the warp talons work. Okay. The question is, do the stealth suits actually get like proper fly, or do they just consider it like a Phobos hover system? Because Phobos hover is actually pretty badass. Chaos Cults has a wing upgrade. And the way winged works... Let me try to find the feet I need. The way that the winged stuff... Ooh. Let me grab this helmet. The way winged works is you can climb any distance for 2 inches, which is great in Vulcus. You can climb up the entire side of a building for 2 inches. And then it claims that you don't need to consider drop at all in anything you're doing. And what makes drop not being considered awesome is that you just kind of like measure and don't consider the down, right? Like you just go. You can jump off of ledges. It makes mutants that can move 7 inches if you give them that upgrade too. Just very diabolical, sitting on top of buildings and then just suddenly being able to charge 9 inches without the need for caring about drops. Super devastating. Yeah, Reaver Phobos. That's the method that Reavers are supposed to use. Because Reavers are grapnel and grav shoots. The grapnel makes it so they can go up without care, and then the grav shoots make it so that they can come down without care. Aquilans as well, I believe. The Aquilans don't go up for free because they don't have grapnel launchers, but if they start on top of something, they don't really care about dropping. So, I guess, I don't know how many of you have seen it. The new heroes that I guess leaked early. That's supposed to be a different Space Marine kill team that involves a lot of scout units, like a lot of Phobos armor units. And now we're getting Space Wolves on top of it as like another set of heavy Phobos style things. Although I don't think they really have the grav shoots for the Space Wolf one, right? Like it's more just general Phobos armor, so they'll probably be quicker. But I don't remember seeing the grav shoots on them. Let me grab a jetpack. Jetpack Coon. Notice me, jetpack. It wasn't like it was leaked. Apparently the models were just released early. Or someone in Japan like bought them all up and then shipped them somewhere else or something. It's the Dark Angels kill team. From the Heroes line. Because they're trying to tie the Heroes line into kill team as well. To give people who play the Heroes game an ability to move to a tabletop variant. Which will hopefully serve as a path to make them move all the way up to 40k is always the goal. Let me grab another set of arms. Hopefully I have enough magnets for this. And thankfully, I'm not the insane clown posse, so I know how magnets work. And we'll be able to use them effectively. Alright, and then we pick an upper body. I think some of the rules have made it out for him. If you collect Space Marines, just like anything else, right? Like if you already collect Space Marines and you've got a decent enough selection of stuff, you could technically, if you have the models for it, just run that kill team. There we go. Upper bodies. What looks like a good gunner upper body? I'm gonna go with the one with the lens in the chest. I think what we'll do is we'll paint for the color scheme. We'll paint the chest straps and stuff. We'll paint it like a silver, and then I'll go over it with like a blue wash. Let me pull up the Heroes kill team, the new one, for those who haven't seen it. There you go.
See? Phobos, pretty much all around. You'll have a regular commander, which looks like a pyre. This, maybe like a pyre gun. This doesn't look like a pistol. Stalker bolter. You got one Phobos. You got one scout style. Everyone else is kind of just like, there's the pyre gun. Pyre gun, and then I think it's Melta or pyre pistol or something. And then you get like a regular marine. I think this is a regular marine. This one's a regular. These are all the scout styles. And then we don't know what this is or something. Oh yeah, this is a combi, it looks like. Bolter. No. Well, it shouldn't replace it. The Space Wolf team is the one that should be replacing the Phobos team. Because these are scout armors. I think. Are they all just scouts? No. Mine layer. They have similar functional concepts to the Phobos team. They have an actual gunner, though. So that'll be a big upgrade. Of course, you need a Psyker in the Space Wolves. Because everyone knows that Space Wolves are known for their Psykers. And then a Wolfie Boy. Whereas this is different. And these guys, their rules aren't that great. They're very bland and basic. But yeah, it comes like this. And then they give you the cards in the box. Look, all I'm saying is I really, really, really wanted an Siren Dreadnought for the release of the Thousand Suns Codex. I really wanted it. The fact that I didn't get a Psychic Dreadnought genuinely pisses me off. Like, getting those baby robots that aren't necessarily that useful or good for their value, I don't know, man. Like, if you've seen the Osiris Dreadnought, it's a Dreadnought that carries a giant staff with, like, a sword on the end of it. That's such a cool idea. It's just a giant sorcerer. They could have kept going with that. Alright, so this one isn't super bad. It's just about cleaning up the model itself, getting all this excess plastic off. I'm going to keep it pretty basic. We're going to need 4 more shoulder pads, though. Because, come on, they gave us an armored division. How cool would that be to have a Psychic Dreadnought-led armored division? I'd love the hell out of that.
I'm partially convinced that they are trying to reassess how the Hellbrute works, because the Hellbrute is kind of garbage. Like, people tend not to make it a weapons platform because it's kind of meaningless as a weapons platform outside of, like, the Chaos Space Marine aura. So, I feel like the fact that I can't easily buy a Hellbrute in the States might be related to this idea that they're trying to reassess a Hellbrute box to be like, okay, so you have the melee Hellbrute variant, which everyone has access to, or you can attach the sonic weapons to it for the Emperor's Children variant. There's a really fun chain axe you can hook to it for the World Eaters variant. There's a staff and a really cool hat you can connect to it for the Thousand Sun Psyker variant. Like, I feel like that's where they're trying to go with it eventually, is the hope. They probably aren't, but, like, let's be real. That would be the best outcome, is you just buy one Hellbrute box. And if you're playing World Eaters, you got, like, a cool variant that has, like, dual chain axes or something, and its rules are just, like, way different. Because 9 times out of 10, with current Hellbrutes, the main thing you're doing is attaching a las cannon and a missile launcher to it, and then leaving it in your backline behind walls to give it auras out to your Chaos Space Marines for the ability to access both sustained and lethal at the same time. Then doing nothing with it. By turn 4, maybe you step out with it to try to kill something, and then you miss with the las cannon, and then miss with the missile launcher, and then feel really bad. Oh yeah, we'll get him alongside the next Space Marine Lieutenant. Yeah, with Nurgle, they would probably be like an autocannon or like a big flamer or something. I just want them to have one Hellbrute covered in speakers. Doesn't even need to have guns. Like, they don't even need to be guns. It can just be 2 auras. One that does damage to everything within like 12 inches of it that isn't your team. And then one that buffs your team. And that's it. It's just a Hellbrute that just runs around with your team and just can't do anything. If you get into combat with it, it just steps on you over and over. Alright, we're gonna have to bust out the drill, I think. Yeah. So back in like 4th and 5th edition, they started releasing upgrade sprues for the dreadnoughts back then. And it was like, this is your World Eater dreadnought. So it had like really cool melee weapons. This was your Thousand Suns one, so it just looked a little more durable, but still had like basic guns and stuff. And then there was the Noise Marine variant that had sonic weaponry attached to it. And I was just like, wow, that's really cool. No, they screwed Thousand Suns into the dirt. There's only one detachment that really works, and it's not even that fun to do, and it doesn't work all the time. The way people who've played Thousand Suns have talked about it is you're going to have one turn where you're like, all right, I'm going to go all in, and if it doesn't work, I lose. Because if you don't go all in like turn 2, turn 3 with them, you're going to lose anyway because the enemy is going to outposition and outpace you. So you're just screwed, right? So they go all in and you fail your Doom Bolt, you might as well shake hands right there. Like, that's what people have talked about with how the Thousand Suns work now. Get my drill together with my bits. Like, if your first real attempt at trying to do stuff with your Thousand Suns does not work right off the rip, it's over. Oh, thanks, Alexander. Yeah, we're only going to get a couple done tonight, I think. We have 10 total to work on. 4 of them are going to be easy because those are just going to be basic. They're either going to be Warp Talons or General Raptors, so whatever. But the two-handed spear, the two-handed chain axe, this guy, and maybe the champion. Champion might be easy. I don't know. Oh, everyone's leaving me. It's almost not even that they need to be well-rounded. Just the stuff you're taking away, or I say you as though I'm blaming all of you, but the stuff Games Workshop is taking away from them does not feel in line with how other armies work. So the faction I wanted to play at 1,000 Suns when I saw it was the Zangor detachment, because I have 3 Mutalith Vortex Beasts and 6 Chaos Spawn, and that was hilarious to me. And the idea of giving a Terminator Sorcerer Lord uppy downy in a squad of Zangors was great. And then you could make him deep strike for a command point. It was kind of the situation with that squad. I loved that idea. And then he had the ability to mark targets to give +1 to hit in the shooting phase, which helped the MVBs. If I took some other stuff, it could help that as well. That was incredible. The fact that I could also increase +1 to wound on those models, which, I mean, to get to +1 to wound, I have to basically potentially damage all of my big units for possibly 3 health, right? The comparison point is that Space Marines get +1 to wound for fucking free. Like, they just get it for free. You just mark a target, you have it. Have fun with that. And the fact that you don't have the consistency of being like, man, that's really broken in this army, we should turn it off. But let's leave it on in the Space Marines. They could have just left it on. They could have just left it on. Like, I don't understand. I have to take damage to get it, and then the golden children that they kept with it, like, they don't have to do anything. They just get it. That's so crazy to me. Alright, so we got to assess how many magnets we have. I need more shoulder pads. So let me find my Chaos Space Marine box and pull out, hopefully, 4 more shoulder pads. Yeah, then you get specialty flamethrowers. Which, the fact that they gave ignore benefit of cover to the icon in the Rubric Marines, but then made it so that the person leading that squad cannot benefit, while most of the sorcerers had all of their abilities retuned to be very low on the AP scale and damage. That's such a weird thing to do in that situation. To just be like, oh yeah, let's screw the sorcerers over. I don't know. It feels like they were trying not to overpower them while leaving everyone else that was already in the game overpowered. Which, I don't know. It doesn't feel all that good if you think about it. Alright, gotta find shoulder pads. Sort of. The main team that everyone knows for 1,000 Suns went from like 54 to 45. The team I was playing that I was saying I really wanted, like the MVB and the +1 to wounds, because everything worked together. This was the first time an army that I had stacking buffs and benefits that genuinely helped each other. I could make my Mutalith Vortex Beasts hit on 2s, rerolling 1s with +1 to wound. Like, that was a thing I could do. in that detachment with the stuff that I had set for it. And by now, what they've done right now is they made it so the +1 to hit only works for the Terminator squad, so that's gone. Which also makes it worse than the MVB detachment because it'll only work for Zangors in the shooting phase. So screw all that noise. Now the +1 to wound doesn't work for anything other than stuff that is Zangors. And the reroll ones, it's like whatever. You can still do it. You might want to just do reroll everything. It's completely meaningless. Versus like other detachments that get enough rerolls that it doesn't matter anyway. So that detachment was a 62%. It's like a 60-ish% win rate. Because 2 guys were playing it, and they were really good at playing it. Just 2 people. 2 people really knew how to play that detachment, and they were amazing at it. So that one was in the 60s. And I was like, that'll probably get nerfed. I did not expect the nerf to be what it was. I assumed they were probably going to get rid of the +1 to wound on the MVBs, but the fact that they got rid of the +1 to wound and the defensive -1 to wound on both the MVBs and the Chaos spawn is absurd. Locally to me, it's IRL play. And TTS has the downside of it of like, there's a lot of oddity in TTS with having to move stuff and know how things work. There's like a learning curve to really being able to use TTS. There's benefits though, because TTS, you could practically put your camera into the, if you're playing Kill Team, you can put it into the person's head and be like, I 100% can see your unit. So like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, the MVB detachment feels like it was basically crash and burn. Where did all my shoulder pads go? So a lot of people use TTS. I will say TTS is kind of on the cusp of becoming too much of a problem. Like, I know a lot of YouTube channels that were exclusively using TTS to show people stuff for Kill Team and things that like suddenly were getting like struck down and demonetized, because you have to understand, leaning into TTS on this side of the spectrum is literally you going like, hey, check this thing out that you don't have to pay money to like a company for to play. Isn't this cool? And it's like, uh-oh. Oh no. Because I did play a game on it, and it does take a second to like learn, but being able to play, because people really put effort into the Kill Team TTS stuff for the last season. I imagine it rolled over to this season to the point where you could like highlight a model on the field and it would tell you the model, their stats, whether they were injured or not. Like, it had all of their information. So while you were playing, you didn't need to ask your opponent anything. You could just be like, what is that? And then just highlight it. And it would be like, this is the guy with the flamer. These are the stats for the flamer. And you'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. So like, it was cool in that regard that it kind of sped up play. I know a lot of tournaments use it still. There are a lot of online tournaments, but you're going to want to know how to use that program before you really do any of those. Because if you're a little too slow, it might piss people off. I need 4 shoulder pads or this isn't going to work. There are a bunch of EC shoulder pads that don't look like Emperor's Children, so I'm going to hopefully find some in here. But the problem with TTS is, like I was saying, how do I put this? Oh, that actually looks really cool. We'll do that one. There's a little while ago, PlayStation put out a game where you could build games on the PlayStation through the engine. That's cool as hell, right? Like, that's awesome. That's super fun sounding. It'd be really fun to be able to do that. That's pretty cool. So what fans did when they found out was they decided to make Mario on PlayStation, which got Nintendo to knock on Sony's door and go, "Hey guys, I see you're putting Mario on PlayStation. Can we not do that?" And in much the same way, I feel like TTS is gonna start getting hit. Not just necessarily from Games Workshop, because TTS also, like, they'll run anything on their system. They don't really care, like, because it's the users that make it, and there's always that assumption of like, well, if it's the users making it, it's not us, therefore we can't be held liable, right? Like, we can't be held liable. It's not us doing it, it's the users. No, guess what? You as the users allowing the public to do it does hold you liable. So there's that level of that with TTS, because to my understanding, the people behind TTS have even kind of been distancing themselves from the release of it a little bit. There was like some story about the guy behind it, like, you know, taking the money and bailing and leaving it to someone else to work on. No, yeah, it's very tricky. So long as Games Workshop is kind of like cool with it, it's fine. But at the same time, you have to recognize that Games Workshop is putting in a lot of effort to try to make their IP, like, you know, theirs. And you have to go through them to do stuff with it, kind of situation. Because they're trying to, you know, make it good enough that companies like Weta and Amazon, they want to buy licenses for it. But if you're coming to the table and being like, hey, pay for our license to be able to use our IPs, and then they point to like 20 different places that are just making stuff from your IP without paying for the license for it, that kind of makes you have like a bad position to make any kind of demands from a company looking to spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on your stuff. So yeah, super tricky. End of the day, if you can't find anyone locally to play and you just want to like play against people, there's apparently a pretty decent TTS community supposedly somewhere. I don't know. That's also one of the weird issues is like, I have a TTS section on our Discord. I don't know if I need to get rid of it. That's not right. Like, if it's at that point where they look for the communities that try to find each other through Discord to then do these things, and then they're just like, you can't do this. It could be an issue. You're looking for a fun kill team? So, if you go to events, Peacock, and you want to flex on someone, I would say get the new Heroes kill team. I don't know what their rules are. I don't know how easy it is to get your hands on them. But to be able to walk into a tournament and be like, check out my Dark Angels Heroes kill team. That is, that's like Justian from way back. Because Justian didn't come to the States, at least for like my area. Justian kind of just popped up at Target for a short period of time because whatever company manages the distribution to the United States of the Heroes line just wasn't doing it. I mean, it was COVID at the time, so I think I want to bore some of these barrels out. So if you went to like an event or a tournament with Strike Team Justian and you had the rules on hand to play them, like, that was pretty cool. And even now, I mean, Strike Team Justian's just part of AOD, but Justian still didn't really drop in the United States. Although, yeah, now they're the starter set. So you would have to buy the starter set and already have AOD on hand. And now you would have the full AOD variant. It was. Now that it's in the starter set, it's not so much. But yeah, old Justian was a mad flex. Justian was a mad flex, and then the other team I played, friggin' Wormblade. If you had a full collection of Wormblade, that was a huge money flex. Because Wormblade uses 4 different heroes from the Genestealer cult, which equated to, just among the heroes, I think it was like $120. And that's before the neophytes. So Mandrakes are fun. Mandrakes are... They're fun if you recognize their power. Well, I mean, when you're me and you're rocking a team that has 4 heroes in it that you can only pick 2 of at any given time, and sitting on your table are the other 2 that you don't pick. And you're rocking with this crazy team that has this stupid win rate entirely built around whether or not one guy running through a door and chucking dynamite at something works. Because if it doesn't, you basically lose. All right, let me bore some of these barrels out. But if you can figure out Mandrakes, like the time we spent here on stream going over all the Mandrake rules to try to figure out how to play them on the map for the tournament, that is literally what saved my ability to win. Right? Looking at it and realizing I can just send almost my entire army up to the 3rd floor of the buildings without effort. Like, you're just there. I played into 4 different opponents the exact same way, is kind of how that worked for me. But yeah, Mandrakes are fun. The most annoying part of Mandrakes is trying to make sure you know which specialists are which. The 2-handed guy, that's easy. The which other one was there? It's the 2-handed guy and then the guy with the shadow shield. Those are easy. Those are perfectly fine. Shouldn't have too much of an issue with that. The ones that suck... Let me see if I need a... No, don't need a smaller one. The ones that suck are the ones that throw a fireball, and then the one that has... like, it's the leader unit that looks almost exactly the same as a warrior. The main difference between them is that they have top knots, and the leader has a scimitar instead of like a regular blade. I tried my best to let people know who the specialists were. All the normal units had blue and purple basing, and then the specialists had like lime green and bright pink basing. So I put in work to let people know what was up. I think I need a smaller... Right. Ooh, it'll be close. It'll look cool if we can get it. What's your question, Red Dragon Sage? All in caps. Like some kind of freak. What's up? Beautiful. Dude, that's a perfect barrel. Holy crap. Look at that. Look at that. Enjoy it. So flawless. Do you know of any putty that doesn't dry out? Oh, you're talking about something you can stick a part to for swaps without magnets. That is a struggle. Blue tack? I mean, it's gonna look bad. Have you tried blue tack? What parts are we talking about? You're talking about are you putting Harlequins together? My buddy magnetized his Harlequin guns. That's how psychotic he is. Like, you're saying it's small, and I'm thinking, like, how is it smaller than Harlequin guns? Alright, we're gonna try to bore out this Screamer's pistol. Switch to the smaller one. Or we'll just make it go in a little bit, give it a little hit. The barrel entrance. Claw for a Cataphren Servitor. Is this on a destroyer that you're trying to put it? Oh, welcome to the YouTube chat, Peacock. Like, is it for this stuff? Is it like this little claw? Oh. So what's the difference? Is it this gun here? I don't know enough about these. Is it this thing? So one's a gun.
and then one's a hand. Are you talking about the thing right here? Does this change between a gun and a hand? How do you not have a small enough magnet for that? Maybe it's because there's too many magnetized parts. I wish I knew the makings of this. Like, I wish I had offhand knowledge of how much you had to do to make this work. Because as far as I can tell... So that's the shoulder joint, and then this arm comes down, and then there's something else here that somehow sits in. Whereas if it's not this, it's this. Which I'm trying to figure out how this gun would come off of it. Oh, it's this thing? Or no? You're saying it's that stubber. Because this is the core difference to me, right? It's this arm or it's this arm. At least that's the core difference I see. Yeah, outside of blue tack, I don't really know of too many that like don't dry out. Even blue tack probably dries out eventually. But I feel like you could just get a tiny magnet and then maybe figure out a connecting point. I don't know. Again, I do really wish I knew the building process, because I see one of it's here, and then there'd be like a little claw attached to it. Versus like the really big arm, which I'm not seeing. I'm guessing it's one cataphracti per. Yeah, so it's one full unit per this, is what it looks like. Where's the other shoulder joint? It looks like either these. Where would be the big fist? I guess that's a multi-parter. I don't know. Yeah, I have no clue. Because like I said, like there's a bunch of really tiny magnets. Like I don't see how these would be too big. I think these are what we're gonna use. Maybe? For this one I need 2, 4, 6, 8. I need 8 in total. I feel like these might be too long. Maybe not, though. Because, like, that's a tank. I'm putting these in here. Like, I'm going to be able to magnetize these arms with them. Double check. I might need to get the slightly thicker screw. If I had a sprue on hand, I could probably take a look at it. Because, man, I magnetized my Necron Hyrotech. Like, that was crazy. I would cut sections of their, like, wrists off to replace with these. So that these looked like part of the actual bodies. And then they would just attach the guns at the wrists. Utilizing these tiny magnets.
It is a struggle, though. AdMech does look really spindly. A lot of the AdMech models I've seen all have like crazy weird connecting points. Only a few of the models are just straight up like shoulder to like elbow joint kind of situation. It's wild. Let's get the baseline magnets on. Do you have a pinning vise to drill into these things to make the holes you need to put the magnets in? Or is that an issue? Yeah, I don't know. Like most people talk about, blue tack is the only thing that I've seen that's pretty sticky that you can remove, but I don't know if it'll hold. Like, I don't know how strong it is to like hold a weapon arm up. Alright, let's get super glue. Yeah, the weird little arm. Pull that back up then. Maybe. Fade. So is it... So you're saying it's not this, which, I mean, clearly there's a little cup there. Is it this? Is that it? You said it was top right. It's this. So... I'm guessing you're saying this is too thin right here to drill through, which, yeah, I agree. But would you be adverse to cutting it at this thing here and then just gluing a magnet here? Like, would that be a problem? Because like I said, with my Necrons, I actually like fully removed, I think on a bunch of my Necrons, I actually like fully removed their shoulders to replace with magnets. Like, one side was the wrist, one side was a shoulder. And then it was the whole gun that you would have to pop off at the wrist and shoulder and then pop back on if you wanted to switch between Tesla and carbine. Because outside of that, yeah, all you're doing is getting tack and then trying to pay attention while you're playing. Because if it falls out and you have issues, ugh. Like if you don't see it fall out, you're gonna lose it. That is a tiny, tiny component. Still not positioned well. Should be. Oh, yeah. Because people usually use blue tack. I made it flush before putting the glue in. People usually use blue tack to, like, cover up components and, like, have it hold on to things while you spray paint them. So, like, maybe. Bam. I'm just gonna let that dry. Arm magnets set. We've got some thinner ones. We might need to use the thinner ones for the arms. I feel like they need to be slightly bigger. Let's see if we got a gauge up. perfect. So the goal here is that we're going to magnetize both the arms. We're probably going to toss the shoulder pads on.
Poggers.
Oh, thanks for the follow.
We'll glue the guns in between, and then at that point, it should just be done. I can't wait to find out this guy can only use a melt-a-gun in the kill team. All this work. Just fully rendered meaningless. Alright, those 3 arms done. 3 more to go. Which already kind of have holes in them, which is great. I wonder if I can talk the people at Too Many Games, the guys that run the tournaments there, to do a kill team tournament. Could be cool. The only problem is, I don't know what day they would run it. And just like their 40K tournament, I feel like There's gonna be issues. Like they ran their this is the second year in a row they've run their 40K tournament up until like moments before the convention hall closes, which you really can't do that. Especially if the convention set up, every single person who was coming in to do the tournament, they were like 40 minutes late because of how bad the line was to get into the convention center. Like, that's crazy. That's just... All right. So we got to give this a second. Let's get some of the shoulder pads on them.
surprised I didn't have as many Chaos shoulder pads as I thought I did. I guess because I bought a lot of Havocs. I didn't really buy a lot of Legionary when I built my Legionary kill team stuff. So this is kind of the goal. Is with the magnets on, we figure out kind of like a best case scenario. See? Like that. And we put a little glue into both sectors. Boom. I'm gonna have him looking left. Yeah. Should then allow me. Oh god. Why is it not sticking? Alright, we're gonna let that sit for a second. Let me take a look over here. Some of these ghosty things. Is there possibility of me popping this onto something? I can't remember exactly how these are supposed to go together. Which is a little disheartening, because they are supposed to spiral with each other, but that's not the goal here. So there should be some connecting points on them that I'm going to have to hit with the sprue goo to cover up, like that divot maybe. But where the hell does this even go? Is this for this head? These ghosts remind me. What's everyone doing for Halloween? Anything fun? I'm not gonna lie, this looks badass. I feel like this is a bad idea, but it does look badass. Like, just having him, like, coming over the gun. Like he's trying to help. It does feel like a little much, though. Could put the little headstone on his base.
Hopefully that dried. Plasma. Plasma. And a flamer. So, I guess there's an element of a question here. They do say that there's a champion model. So that's a thing. Is it going to be a Warp Talon champion as well? Like, are you going to be able to be like Lightning Claws or... Right, like... That might make me have to make a combo champion, I guess. Yeah, there is a Warp Talon champion. Let me see if they give anything away here. Unless they're considering like the Hunt Master to be the prospect of a champion. Which I don't think they would. I don't know though, because like these are always like, this is your Warp Talon squad. When you don't have them, it's a Raptor squad. So we might live in a world I kind of want to find out if I have the parts for this. This could be important. And we could live in a world where I might have to figure out if this needs to have these arms and then be magnetized to have claws instead, with the potential to magnetize these things in the outsides. I don't know. Murderwing operatives are experts in high-speed aerial packed limits with boost, allowing them to strike nearby foes, howl demoralizing shrieks, or even snatch whole operatives off their feet. Oh, I can move people with this squad while passing overhead. Oh, dude, this is going to be wild. Warpract, Murderwings, mission rules, Shadow Hunt dossier, don't care about that. Murderwing Raptors and Warp Talons who display a particular aptitude for assassination, infiltration, and asymmetric warfare. Murderwings are terrifying assault specialists. God, I wish they said anything. Because, like, I get these. These are fine. But is there a world where I have to make a Warp Talon champion? Let's see, it's 9:20. We've streamed for a fair bit. I might have to take a breather and try to figure out what components I'm going to have access to. So far today, out of the 10 units we need to modify and augment, we have achieved a Shrieker. Oh, hang on. The Shrieker is fully, of course, designed to look like he's all about sound. He's got his Emperor's Children head with the extra big mouthpiece. He's got 2 sound pistol attachments on the sides of his jump pack to look like screaming gargoyle heads. And doubled up the shoulder pads with the venting in it. So Shrieker. And then whatever name they gave it, the medium. Ooh, that's not good. I have to put a little more glue in that gap. Sky Seer or whatever they call them. With fully adjustable, adaptable medium weapon options. Melta, Plasma, Flamer. Again, rules will come out and be like, he can only use a Melta, and I'm just going to be like, great, I did all this work for nothing. Nothing. But worst case scenario, he doesn't. And if I ever fight a Horde army, I'll at least have the Flamer option, which never underestimate a Flamer. Especially if it's like a middling team, like a Xenos Aldari team, and you're in close quarters. Like this guy coming around a corner and just being like, and flamethrower could easily wipe 2-3 people out. And then just a boatload. I think 8 blanks. Oh, 9 blanks. Why do I have 9 blanks? There should have been 2 squads of 5. Meaning I should have 8 left over. But apparently I have 9. 1, 2, 3. Hold the phone. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 3 left over here. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. They gave me an extra. It's not the first time, won't be the last. I am kind of a little worried about the great weapon wielders. I know the spear wielder will probably put one of these on the end of one of these two-handers we got. The other one might get one of these on the end of its two-hander. Either that. I wonder... No. Probably won't be easy to do the full weapon. I'll have to see what I have in terms of like large scale weapons. I know I've got some demon weapons. And that we're also gonna have to figure out the mutated functions. Like I should have a bag of chaos spawn parts, which we're probably gonna need to use for the mutant version. Bam. Nice. Yep, I'm probably gonna hang out, chill, look into some of my parts, see what we can pull together. And we'll probably stream more this week, or this weekend rather, and then a little bit into the week, because we do really want to finish building this, and then we're gonna really get into painting it. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, thanks for chilling, thanks for talking in chat, always good. Until next time, guys, later.